Well, the Astros are back to their winning ways. Yordan is on the cusp of returning. And we want to know, what is the identity of this team offensively? Mike Stanton and I will break it down for you on our next Back to the Bullpen session.
I'm looking to the bullpen to bring my lefty in. Keep the lead and make your team look pedestrian. Insinuate house will swing for the fence. You know it's money around here, and I ain't talking expense. Strike one, heat low in the way you can't hit it. You know you want to start a rally, but you better forget it. Strike two, off speed, same spot your car looking. Get ready at the plate, this time you're not cooking. Strike three, swinging out of the zone. You ain't even touch it first. Tell me how they gonna drive you home. Walk it back, looking like we ain't cool then. The game's over, might as well put them back to.
That's right. We are here back to the bullpen, and there's Mike Stanton. He hasn't gone anywhere. I know you thought, wait, where's Mike go? He is
right here. Right here.
That's right. Mike,
by the way, if I happen to doze off in the next 30 minutes, don't take it personally. I just ate a whole rack of ribs, so.
Oh, wow. Were you at Chili's?
It was Chili's. It actually was Chili's.
I want my baby back, baby.
That's right. It was Chili's.
We need to work on a Chili's sponsorship. That would be great. Wow, a whole rack of ribs. Well, Mike, I'll have you know, tonight I made myself a really good omelet with some mesquite bacon, with some spinach lettuce. And then
here we go.
What else did I have? I had some Halo Top ice cream, some protein ice cream after.
There you really. We're gonna sit here. I'm eating baby back ribs, and you're gonna tell me how healthy you're eating. Give me a break.
And this was after I went to the gym.
Oh, really? Wait. We just have to deliver a package or something? Go to the gym and leave?
I work for Amazon. I was delivering them their POS system.
Right.
Oh, geez. Well, hey, yeah. Carrie says, I hope the ribs were great. Yeah,
they were great, and I hope his kale salad was nice too.
It wasn't kale, it was spinach.
Whatever.
All right. Well, hey, you know what? You know where to find us. Back to the Bullpen on Instagram, Wheelhouse Media Company on YouTube. And if you paid attention to the intro, you saw a little snapshot of our store.
Changed it up.
Yep. Changed it up a little bit. 11710 Broadway Street in Pearland. You got to come by and see us. It is all the rave. We've got people coming in. And this next Saturday, I'm actually teaching how to create a podcast. It's basically a 1 hour seminar. I'm teaching a class at 11:30 and a class at 11:30 and 1:00 on Saturday. So stop by the studios. There are 25 seats, limited seats available, $25 per seat. I'm going to give you all the ins and the outs of what it's like to build a podcast, my successes, my failures. I'm going to tell you how I got a hold of a World Series champion like Mike Stanton and how he came on to the show. And just look, I'm going to try to impart all my knowledge I can to you. I would love for y'all to come in. And also, we're going to include a tour of the studio. And who knows, instead of you feeling like you have to go spend all this money, Mike, on podcast equipment, we've got studios right there equipped for you.
There you go. That's what it's there for.
Lease out. Yeah. So check that out. I'll be getting more details throughout the week on that. So thank y'all for tuning in to Back to the Bullpen. We are excited because the Astros are getting closer and closer to the end of the season, to the postseason. Yes. I guess it's safe to say we can start talking.
So the marathon is over. The marathon, well, it's not over, but the marathon is behind you. Now you have the sprint down to the finish here. September is right around the corner. The dog days are just about over. And I don't know if you've heard that the update on my phone, Chili's just thanked me for my order.
Really? Wow. Nice. They came in the clutch, man. They must have heard. Their ears must have been burning.
Must have.
Man, talking about tickling the ribs.
They were good.
So
actually, there's a place in Tomball that was, it may still be there. It's actually called the Rib Tickler.
Now, do you remember Bennigan's?
Oh, of course.
Oh, man. I love Bennigan's. I love their Monte Cristo. Did you ever have the Monte Cristo?
Did it have kale on it?
No, Mike, it did not have kale on it. It was a deep fried ham and cheese.
There you go.
Remember? With the freaking raspberry like jelly.
Nice.
The most unhealthy thing in the world. I to this day can still taste it. I mean, it was.
Might still have a little in your teeth or something.
It had powdered sugar on. That's why I always
have
powdered sugar on my shirt. But oh man, look, we could turn this into back to the kitchen
comedy hour.
Yeah, comedy hour.
Just rag. Hey, we can just rag on Brett. Remember, his name is Brett. Rag on Brett for the next hour.
Wow, man, brutal. So
I'm feeling spicy after my ribs today.
You are, man. Like you must have taken in some extra, like I don't know. You take like a B12 shot before, but the last time the Astros faced the Orioles just really embarrassed them. They had their two pitchers.
That was down here in Houston.
It was in Houston, and Young nearly threw a perfect game. Then you had Dean Kramer just handle them, and those two pitchers did not have the same success they did. And the Astros came in and they won the first 3 games. They did lose today 3-2. But you take 3 of 4 from the Orioles. You scored a lot of runs doing it.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about the offense in a second, but it was a key. The key aspect, I think, to winning 3 of 4 was Seattle. They would maybe win 1, then lose 1. Well, you kept pace 2 games in front of them. So that's really what you're looking at right now.
Well, and you go back to that series they had down here against the Orioles. That was that bad streak that they were shut out 4 out of 5 days and 3 in a row. And they just didn't seem like anything was going right. Well, they weren't. Well, the only thing that really was going right at that time was actually the Seattle Mariners were just as bad, if not worse, than the Astros. And, this team has been notorious over the years. You go all the way back even to 2015, but 17, 18, 19, they were always have been a better road team than they were at home. Couldn't really ever put your finger on it why that was the case, but this year was opposite. They were actually winning a lot of games in the first half, winning a lot of games at home, and a little bit more closer to mediocre on the road, but they've picked it up on the road and going to Baltimore, even though Baltimore is a team that's well under 500.
Right.
Baltimore is not an easy place to play. That is a rowdy place in the Northeast, and the Astros did a really nice job. You would have loved for them to go ahead and complete the 4-game sweep, but you'll take 3 out of 4 just about every time.
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, when you go through a 4-game stint like they did before, where you scored 7 runs in 4 games,
right?
And then you get here and you score 26 runs or 28 runs total in 4 games. It's a pretty big swing because not only did you lose big to Baltimore, you went to Detroit and you got swept and lost all 3 games.
Yep.
I mean, this team looked like it was in a tailspin. Now, let's look.
It's been a roller coaster, to say the least.
It has been. I basically the other night I tweeted out how many El Tiempo margaritas drunk is this game? The game that they won 9-8 versus the Orioles, because
that was just yesterday.
Yeah. So it was just up and down, up and down. It was like we'd get a lead, they come back.
That's a microcosm of this whole season.
Right.
I mean, this is how it really has been. And, it's been fun to watch. It's also been very stressful. But, we'll have to see what this last month plus of the regular season has in store for us. But the Astros they're in a good spot right now. They're in control of their own destiny. And they still have an outside shot of having the best record in baseball. You really want to be, best record. Okay, that's fine. Second best record in the league. That's where you really want to be because you get the bye in the first round.
Right. So if, looking at the standings, the Detroit Tigers, I believe, are probably going to hold on to the number 1 spot. That's Astros, if the Astros can catch the Blue Jays, and if the Red Sox don't leapfrog the Astros record-wise, because the Red Sox right now are on an absolute heater. The Red Sox are playing really, really good baseball right now. They are actually playing the Yankees tonight, and the Yankees are actually up on them 5-2. So if the Astros fans are rooting for anybody, they're rooting for the Yankees to get their 70th win, the Red Sox to not get their 72nd win, because then they're tied record-wise. Now, in the standings, it comes down to who leads the division, right? For those top spots. The top 2 spots, again, are the Tigers and the Blue Jays. The Tigers at 78
and the
wins.
Astros are 4 games behind the Blue Jays right now.
Right. But I think the Blue Jays are a catchable team. And the reason why I say that is because we've seen them at the end of seasons kind of flail a little bit. And if the Astros can catch a hot streak, and we'll talk about the opponents later, they have an advantage on paper. They have the advantage. So
the only difference is this is a different Blue Jays team. Maybe a lot of the same cast of characters, but when was the last time we saw a Blue Jays team in first place in the division when you're talking about the last week of August? I can't really remember. I'd have to go to Baseball Reference and have a look at that. It's been a while.
Yeah, definitely. It has been a while. Hey, you know what, Jay Thunder? It's okay, man. You know what? Anytime you can catch us, we appreciate you, sir. Jay Thunder's come to he was there at Tom's Watch Bar. The first question he said is, "Where's Mike?" I said, "Well, Mike's not here. Mike is actually in New York." That was the time you.
That was a couple weeks ago, and then this past weekend I was in Atlanta doing the same thing. Actually, Friday, a couple days ago, Friday, I was in Atlanta, and we were celebrating the first World Series that the Atlanta Braves ever won, and that was in the 1995 season.
And that's awesome that you get to be a part of that.
That was cool.
Talking about how,
because I actually wasn't on that team when they played the World Series. I actually got traded at the trade deadline, but that was the team I had been drafted by. I played there for 2 months short of 6 years in Atlanta. The World Series that we went through in 91 and 92, I was involved with those teams, and I was part of the team, and I did get a ring. I just wasn't part of the celebration at the end of the season, which kind of stinks. But I'll tell you what, it was great seeing the guys. With it, a couple weeks ago in New York, we were celebrating the 2000 World Series team, the 25th anniversary of that. This was the 30th anniversary of the 95 Atlanta Braves World Championship team. So great to see all the guys again. It had been a long time, and we had a good time catching up.
So technically, you're 4-time World Series champion.
Well, I got 4 rings. I don't consider myself.
But saying 3-time is accurate then.
3-time is accurate. Okay. Yes. Okay. I got 4 rings, but I was not on the team. I'm not gonna take something that I wasn't part of. So I was not part of that championship celebration, but yes, I did get a ring for the 95 team.
Well, there you go. I mean, some people, they don't even get a ring. All they get is suffering.
Right.
So, I mean, so you know what? Big news. Yordan Alvarez tearing up AA right now at a 1169 OPS. I mean, only 13 plate appearances, but he's hitting the ball well. And the best thing, Mike, he's not in pain or he's not having to rest extra.
Well, I mean, that's really the biggest part of this. Yeah, he's hitting the ball great. Okay, that's all fine and dandy. He's not having to take extra. He's not having to take off days. He's able to put, one day after another, and that's exactly what the Astros need. There doesn't seem to be any issues with any strength in that hand. Everything seems to be on the up and up. I'm still not getting excited until I see him on game day in the lineup. Hey, tell you the truth, I might wait till he actually comes up to the plate.
Exactly. And, another thing, too, that you've mentioned, and this probably better than anybody because of your years experience and your years coaching right now, because, post-baseball life that you coach players all levels, is when a guy comes back like this, he's not exactly – now, I mean, he's Yordan Alvarez, right? He's a pro. So he could come back and perform well. But we got to give him a little bit of grace in the performance area, I think, because he's got to adjust to that big league pitching, right?
Well, the problem is Yordan is the one that has set the bar so high when he, was spent all of spring training on the IL, not doing anything. And he said, no, I don't need any rehab starts. And then he lit it up at the beginning of the regular season. So he's the one that really has set the bar so high. But I think, you have to, you got to take it all with a grain of salt. He's seeing the ball well. And listen, the stuff in AA isn't that much different than what you see in the big leagues, other than they're just a little bit more polished. It's probably have more velocity in the minor leagues than you do in the big leagues. But again, we've been down this road so many times, and hopefully this is the last time we have to go down this road.
Well,
that's why I'm not going to get excited until I actually see him in Houston stepping into the batter's box during a big league baseball game.
And, maybe too, this soft landing in the major leagues with facing the Rockies, no offense to the Rockies, might be a little bit easier than the Yankees or the Brewers who, top 2 or 3 of their rotation. Yeah. So that may help a little bit. But
but listen, you still got to swing the bat. You still got to put the bat on the ball.
True.
You still have, you still got to hit the ball hard, do all the things. So
yeah, you can't.
I've always said, what is my disclaimer? My disclaimer is always, it's not who you play, it's when you play them. And the Colorado Rockies, there have been times that they have been hot this year. They have not just been a pushover. Hopefully that's not going to be the case when they get back down here in Houston.
So identifying this team, and I want to transition from Yordan Alvarez to who this team is. Mm-hmm. And you and I have talked about it a lot. And I try not to be a homer when I talk about where the Astros really are, because I think the pitching helped mask some of the lack of offense throughout the year. Because if it weren't for all the zeros that the pitchers put up, both bullpen and starters, and mainly Hunter Brown and Framber Valdez for most of the season, and then Jason Alexander coming in late, this team is not a very powerful offensive team. Before you comment, I want to say this. The Astros, they're top 3, right, in the American League. The Tigers are plus 98 run differential. The Blue Jays are plus 55. The Astros are plus 19. And the Red Sox, just behind them, have the highest scoring offense in the American League, 105 plus run differential. Everything's working in Boston. So tell me, Mike, what is the identity of this offense?
Well, I think this is a scratch and claw offense. I mean, we were talking about some of the stats as we got as we started this podcast. Going into today was 131 as far as the number of games they had played. So they played 130 games. Exactly half of those games they've scored 3 runs or less. Okay. That's a big, big number. And that's not something that, that was just earlier in the season. No, it happens all the time. Actually, with today's loss, they are more than half by 1 game, but more than half of the games that they have played, they have scored 3 runs or fewer. The crazy thing is they won, I think, 20 of those baseball games, which is absolutely remarkable. They've got 32 come from behind wins. So it shows that, they score runs. They just, there's just not a whole lot of home runs. There's not a whole lot of power. They got to string some hits together. And that's not easy to do in Major League Baseball. And really what it's shown is just their ability to pitch. And again, it's one of those situations that, there's been a lot of 1-run games, and they played very well in those 1-run games. You go, well, even you see right here, 20 and 46. That's still 20 wins. That is a lot of wins when you score less than 4 runs. So, you put all that together. Who is this team? This is a team that can pitch. This is a team that can play defense, and hopefully they scratch enough runs across and, to win some baseball games. Yordan is definitely going to help, because we really haven't even seen Yordan at all this year. Yes, he's been in the big leagues earlier in the season, but that wasn't a healthy Yordan. Yordan could be a big, big boost to this offense, hopefully here against Colorado on Tuesday.
Yeah, and they're also 23 and 13 in 1-run games. So when the game's decided by 1 run, So
you have to take that one with a grain of salt, because
True.
you lose 9-8. That's a 1-run game.
That's true.
So what does that really? That doesn't really say anything other than they've played in a lot of 1-run baseball games.
Now, it's interesting when they've out-hit the opponent, Mike, they're 55-17. Amazing how that happens.
Yeah.
But even saying that, the reason why I bring that up is we've seen this team get 12 hits and score 3 runs.
Yeah. Lots of singles. I mean, like I said, this is not a team that holds a really high slugging percentage. It's not a team that drives the ball out of the ballpark. So a lot of times you have to get multiple hits in order to score runs. And that's just not easy to do in this day and age of max effort pitching, high 90s spinning the ball like crazy and high spin rate. It's just not easy to do.
So the Astros come in and, they have injury after injury. They DFA guys like Sean Dubin, who's been with the club he's been with the club for a while.
Yeah.
Neres was here. He left. Taylor Scott, was DFA'd. They brought him back. He was DFA'd. Everybody's being brought up and brought down. Well, and then in comes a random major league signing of Craig Kimbrel, 15-year veteran. This guy was 8 of 10 in save opportunities in AAA Round Rock for the Rangers. And you bring this guy in out of necessity because Josh Hader, although they say he'll be back for the playoffs, I'm not counting on him throwing another pitch until spring training.
Well, I think it's another situation, just like we were talking about with Yordan. You'll believe Josh comes back when, he's ready to come back, and they put him on the roster.
To the mound, right?
Yeah. And Kimbrel, a few years ago, this is one of the best closers in the game. I mean, you're talking about 400 plus saves. You're talking about high octane fastball. You're talking about a dirty breaking ball. Really, the biggest issue he's had over the last couple of years is controlling the ball, is putting the ball in the strike zone. And he did a pretty good job in AAA. And it was an interesting story because, the Rangers told him, listen, you're probably not in our plans. And they told him, if you can find somebody that's going to put you in the big leagues, well, we'll release you. We'll let you go. I don't think they realized that the Astros might have been the ones that were knocking on the door. So, that's how they end up getting a guy that's a multi-time all-star. That's, like I said, one of the best closers in the game, has been a rookie of the year, has been, multi-time reliever of the year. I mean, this guy's got a resume almost just as big as anybody in the league active right now. And hopefully you can catch lightning in a bottle. He can throw some strikes, because if he throws strikes, the reason he's there is because he's still got big swing and miss stuff. And
he does.
That's what plays in the postseason. You don't want guys putting the ball in play, and Kimbrel's got the ability to miss bats.
And although he's not hitting the 98 plus, 98,
he's still mid-90s. He's still mid-90s.
He's still mid-90s, but to me, a veteran pitcher knows how to plan for certain batters, knows how to attack the hitters. Kerry Ladd has a question for you, Mike. He said, Mike, were there a lot of spin throws back when you played? In other words,
not nearly as much. I understand what you're saying. I mean, a couple years ago, 3 or 4 years ago now, maybe, there were more for the first time in Major League history, there were more off-speed pitches thrown than there were fastballs. Okay. And you still see that today, that everybody attacks with their off-speed pitch, but usually some kind of breaking ball, sweeper, curveball, slider, whatever. Change-ups are in there. That's an off-speed pitch. You don't see guys going out there and just, waffling fastballs all the time. And so, no, you do not see nearly as many fastballs as a big league hitter in today's game as even 5 years ago, much less 15 or 20 years ago. I had a conversation when I was in New York a couple of weeks ago. Clay Bellinger was one of my teammates on that 2020 or that 2000 World Series championship team with the Yankees. And we're having dinner, the day before the Old Timers Day. And, I asked him after, just catching up, I said, okay, so you got to tell me what was going on with Cody. What's going on, when he was, in LA and he was, had the 2 or 3
this
years.
is Cody's father.
Yes,
Okay.
this is Cody's father.
Okay.
If you remember, Cody Bellinger was MVP. I mean, this is one of the best talents in the National League, and he fell off. Well, he had an injury from a celebration he had, I think, in Arlington during the playoffs, and he said he was never healthy. But there's another side of this. There's another part of this story. He goes, Dad, if you go back to my Rookie of the Year, my MVP year, okay, he goes, I saw. And I know this is a very specific number, but I saw 62% fastballs.
Wow.
Okay. He says, now I see 40, maybe less than 40% fastballs. He goes, there is no such thing as a fastball count. You get 2-0, you're going to see a slider. You just don't. It's a different style of hitting that you have now than even just 5 or 6 years ago. Again, much less, 15 or 20 years ago.
So is that why as a fan watching a guy that's got 2 strikes and he looks at a fastball down the heart of the plate because he's not sitting fastball.
No, he's looking for the off-speed pitches.
You get hung up on it. And of course, as a fan, you're like, that was your pitch.
What are you doing? What are you looking for? Well, I wasn't looking for a fastball down the middle. That's for sure. Here's the thing. All you have to do is go back through the years and Google it or whatever and ask what the average major league batting average is. And you'll see it's like 240 right now, like 240, 242, something like that. I mean, when I came into the league, now token that was a long time ago, if you were hitting 270, you were doing okay. 280, you're doing better. 300, okay, you're legit. But I mean, you're talking about big league average. So half of the league is hitting less than 240, which makes the average
about a time when men were men, when men went to Bennigan's and ate Monte Cristo.
That's right. Well, and when pitchers threw fastballs.
That's right. When men were men, when Lenny Dykstra pimped a home run in the Astrodome and he got a 98-mile-an-hour fastball in the rib cage by Nolan the next day. When men were men.
And you remember that.
We need to do a when men were men segment. Oh, man. So we got, Craig Kimbrel does bring a veteran presence. He does bring someone who has confidence in his stuff. I mean, you don't stay in the big leagues for 15 years and not have some sort of
and you got to also remember the accolades. It's not just the time of service, it's the quality of service. Like I said, he's a multi-time reliever of the year. I think he's got 422, something like that.
I think it's 440, Mike.
Is it 440? Okay. I know it's well over 400.
Yeah, it's fifth all time.
You're talking about a guy that's got a strikeout per 9 like north of 12. I mean, this is a big time swing and miss arm. It's just a matter, you can't get 3 strikes until you get 2, until you get 1. So he's going to have to spend some time in the zone, but potentially this could be a big sign, especially if Josh Hader does come back. Now you got a 3-headed monster down there with Brian Abreu.
Because you're not looking at Kimbrel's not coming in to be your closer per se. He's coming into
what Joe Espada has told him is just be ready.
I like it.
Be ready for anything. And that's, listen, other than the closer, which right now, will he close some games? Possibly. If you need Abreu a little earlier in the game, now you have the ability to do that.
Right.
You have another big veteran arm in the pen. But maybe Kimbrel is earlier in the game. But I like the idea. Other than the closer, everybody else can be called at any time, and that's how it's supposed to work. So, if you're not labeled the closer, you got the 9th inning tonight. You got to be ready. It could be the 6th. It could be the 8th.
Definitely. And, coming up and, wrapping up our conversation tonight, the Astros have the Rockies, the Angels, and the Yankees. And we know the Yankees have the ability to be a big hitting team. They have guys like Max Fried. I don't know where they will be on the rotation when they get to Houston, but Fried has not been good. I mean, he has publicly said,
especially the second half. Yeah, especially the second half.
Really,
they still got Rodon, who's, if he's on, he can be as dirty as anybody. Their lineup has the ability to drive the ball out of the ballpark. You probably have another MVP for Aaron Judge. He's been killing the ball, but they also have a lot of swing and miss. So if you make your pitches, you can get them out. Bullpen has been in shambles. Bullpen has been a problem, but you can't get to the Yankees until you first go through Colorado and then the Angels. And both of those are subpar teams. But again, you have to make sure that you don't let up and let these guys come in, because we've seen the Astros beat the best team, but we've seen the Astros lose to the worst team. So that's kind of the nature of this of this 2025 Astros team. So with this coming down to the wire, this coming down the stretch, Astros need to start grinding it out and start playing with, well, they're already playing with urgency, but keep playing with urgency and don't get lackadaisical.
No, yeah, you've got to, because when you do get further in the schedule into September, because that's where the Angels and Yankees series takes you. The Astros will have the Rangers, the Blue Jays, the Braves, and then they'll have the Rangers again, and then they'll have the Mariners for 3, and they end. I mean, it's basically the AL West for the last 4 series.
Sure.
And the Astros just have to take care of business. And if they can keep, if they can go on a 4 or 5 game win streak, I think they'll put themselves enough in front of Seattle that when they get to the Seattle series, that will be them putting the nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
If they
what the way the approach needs to be right now is not even looking to the Angels or the Yankees. Right. They got to look for the Rockies. True. And don't even look at game 3. You got to look at game 1 of the series. So, just take care of today's game. And what I would really like to see is I would like to see the bullpen usage. I would like them to, get a little bit more urgency. I know that, they don't like guys to go back-to-back days. They definitely don't like to go 3 days in a row. But if that's what you need to do to win, that's what you have to do. And I think once you get into September, you kind of take the kid gloves off a little bit and you go ahead and let these guys do what they can do. Unfortunately, they haven't been doing it much during the season, so you don't know physically how they're going to react to that. But, you can't win with your horses in the stable. You got to put the horses on the field.
Definitely. In that first game on Tuesday, Hunter Brown will be going. And then I believe it is Framber Valdez on Wednesday. And then Jason Alexander goes in the third game, which makes you wonder, like, I know you and I talked on Mike's Mechanics about Jason Alexander. If y'all haven't watched that episode, go watch Mike break down Jason Alexander. I know that we both said he's not the guy that we want to have to put in a playoff rotation. But man, if he's my most consistent pitcher and he's garnered that spot, then man, you put him there. Yeah. Of course, it is different.
And it's got to be against the right. It's got to be the right opponent. I mean, if you have him in the 4th spot in the rotation, you feel pretty good, because that means somebody else has stepped up, whether it's Christian Javier, whether it's, Luis Garcia, who should be coming back anytime now, whether it's, Spencer Arrighetti, who struggled in the first inning today, but pitched well for the rest of the game. I mean, those are the guys that you would really like to be in the 3 spot. And to tell you the truth, if you have a couple of them, and then Alexander may be pushed to the bullpen. But he has been outstanding. He's been an integral part of this Astros run because of all the injuries. He's done a really nice job. ERA, 2.5, somewhere in there. For the 7 or 8 starts he's had here as a Houston Astro.
So, hey, before we get out of here, we have a guy named Ghost Strohs that watches us, and he actually watches us from overseas, and he does like live kind of play-by-play on the internet for people. And he was like, hey, I'd love to have you or Mike on one day. And then he says, Mike, what are your thoughts on Javier long-term?
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. I mean, he went through a lengthy rehab. We saw him his last time out. Man, he just could not command the strike zone whatsoever. And that's exactly what you expect a guy coming back from Tommy John, even if he is completely healthy. You got to remember, the dude hadn't pitched in well over a year, especially in a big league game. So there's going to be times that he looks like, and we've already seen it. You go look at him and go, oh, yeah, that's the old Christian Javier. That's the dude we need, the high-riding fastball, the sweeper, the changeup, everything's on point. But then there's going to be, a start 5 or 6 days later, and you're like, dude, did he go to rehab at all? I mean, is he, but that's just the nature of the beast. Yes, he's healthy. The ball's coming out well, but he's still looking for that consistency. And when you take that much time off, especially coming back from an injury, you just don't know. It's going to take some time. That's why they call it, even if you're ready to pitch in 12 months, it's a 15 to 24-month injury before you are completely back to what you were prior.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And it's unbelievable the amount of injuries that this team has sustained.
Again, last year too.
And they are third in the American League. Look, Mike, I think the AL is wide open. I do know that Detroit is right now probably the odds-on favorite. And then the Red Sox will probably be everybody's second favorite just with what they've got going with Crochet and the guys on the mound. Bregman has got that team fired up, and Abreu, and they've got the horses in the barn to compete. And so I think it's going to be one of these like thoroughbred finishes where you're going to have a lot of strong horses pushing for that.
Well, I think you look at either league. I think both leagues are up in the air. There is 100%. Not a dominant team in Major League Baseball. It was supposed to be the Dodgers, but guess what? Paper is not where you play the game. You play the game on the field. So
Milwaukee, San Diego. I mean,
it's going to be a fun run down through September and into the playoffs. And it really is. Anybody can win this. You make it to the big dance in October. And then all it's about getting hot. It doesn't matter how good you are, how you got to that point. You make it to the playoffs, you got a chance.
A wise man once told me the toughest part is getting to the playoffs.
It is. That's the long haul. That is. I don't know if I was the one that said that.
Yes, you're the wise man.
But whoever that was, well, at least know what he's talking about. And that's.
I was going to say the Lorax once told me, but I don't want to call you the Lorax.
The Lorax.
Well, hey, Mike, this has been great. Another Back to the Bullpen session with you. Just phenomenal. Thank you for sharing your experience with the 95 team there in Atlanta. And thank you for answering the questions. I know
what we're here for.
Yeah, I mean, your experience is indelible. And every time you tell a story about, doing what you did, it like helps me kind of live out those dreams that I wish I could have done myself. But seriously, always gracious to share those things. But, go Astros. We'll be back probably Thursday to talk some Astros baseball. And hopefully after some successful Yordan at bats, we'll get to maybe evaluate where we think he is going forward as well.
Right. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. And, we just have to see what this crazy roller coaster of 2025 has in store for us the rest of the season.
Definitely. Well, from myself, from Mike, from everybody here at Wheelhouse Media Company, we do appreciate y'all for listening to us. Subscribe to our channel, like, comment, share with your friends and family. Come hang out with us again this Saturday. I've got 2 time slots. You can email me at brett@wheelhousemediacompany.com if you want me to reserve you a seat. I've got several seats already filling up. So y'all come see me this Saturday, August 30th at our studios. We'll give you a tour. It'll be fun. And y'all have a good one. Go Stros.
Adios.
I'm looking to the bullpen to bring my lefty in. Keep the lead and make your team look pedestrian. It's in your wheelhouse, we'll swing for the fence. You know it's money around here, and I ain't talking expense. Strike one, hit it low in the way you can't hit it. You know you want to start a rally, but you better forget it. Strike two, off speed, same spot, your car looking. Get ready at the plate, this time you're not cooking. Strike three, swinging out of the zone. You ain't even touch it first. Tell me how they gonna drive you home. Walk your back, walk it back.